Hi, I'm Vivek. I'm working with startups India and worldwide as an investor, as a business strategist, and as an IP consultant. So I'm thankful to team Nikhil and Pawan who has given me this opportunity to interact with the startups in the healthcare domain about the importance of IP for startups. Yeah, it's a very important topic called intellectual property as IP, right? It's not internet protocol, right? So it's really important to understand the essence of IP. And the first myth, which is mostly there among startups, is that IP is a legal formality, which is not. Rather, intellectual property is a business tool, and I can help you to clear your doubts on this by citing examples of way back in the 19th century and beyond, where Harley Davidson has started manufacturing their first bikes. They started using, and they were selling their bikes at a very good pace, at a very good price, and doing a very good business. But they got they got a wall in front of their growth by in the shape of lawsuit from an Indian motorcycle, right? So they were sued for patent infringement of clutch design, and they have to clear off all the bikes and start from zero. So that's the power of intellectual property, and it relates to business. It's not at all legal formality. So whenever you are starting a startup, right, you have to understand number of things with respect to intellectual property. How you are going to create intellectual property in it. How you are going to respect others' intellectual property in the domain. How you can make collaborations by using intellectual property. All these things are there. So I will take them one by one. That, for example, you started with a startup. You don't have uh, money for R&D. You don't have things to come develop a strong intellectual property domain or a portfolio, right? What you will do in such a case, go out and look for patent applications patents of your interest, right? And try to contact the applicants, patentees, owners of those patent applications and patents. Try to strike a deal with them and develop your muscle power within no time. This is same thing which has been done by Uber in their initial days. You can go to search for the case, like you can go to Google, look for AT&T matter, and they approach AT&T for 8 to 9 patents. They strike a deal and they build up the muscle power without putting time and money in doing R&D, developing patents, prosecuting patents, and getting the patents granted from the patent office. Any startup can do that, but you need a strategy for this. Now, coming back to the how you develop your intellectual property. Patent databases are the gold mine. So whenever you are thinking to develop some product, or if you are at a concept stage, look into the patent databases of various patent offices. Look for patent applications patents of companies in your domain. See what they are innovating. First, you will get to know about the innovation trend, where the innovation is growing, right? Which will give you a good uh, feel of market, that where will be the market trend, because all the companies working towards it. Second, what innovations already been done, right? So you can just eliminate the concept which you are working on if similar thing has already been innovated by any other company, because there is no fun in reinventing the wheel. Then take these pattern applications as benchmark and start developing something innovative on it. Start developing an intellectual property portfolio or a patent portfolio on it. Then you can go to these companies and try to collaborate. And by telling that you have a patent for this, I have a patent for ancillary thing, let's collaborate. The best example is telecom pool. If you go and search for telecommunication pool, you will see a web but every company is earning money from it. Similarly, coming to the specific domain of healthcare, right, there is a lot of scope of intellectual property, and a lot of intellectual property has been developed. So it's really important for every startup to understand what's going on their domain before they are jumping into the river. It will save you from number of things. It will save you from the setback. It will save you from unnecessary, unintentional infringement lawsuit. It will help you to not to waste your efforts in starting a startup and running the startup. So now coming to the specific healthcare domain and the other intellectual property, I talked about patents and their importance. Second, one of the important IP is trademarks. If you are building a brand, you have to be unique. You have to secure your brand. You can't let go your brand to be used by others, because especially in healthcare, it's a brand. People are buying product of a company because they know that this company has a good machines, they have a good healthcare solutions which can save our lives. So here the importance of trademark in healthcare domain is very high, and you have to be very much vigilant about it. You should secure your trademark, your brand, and ensure that you're not using any similar mark of existing brands, because the trust in the healthcare domain is very much right. It's really important. If you lose trust of your customer, you cannot come back to the market, right? So ensure that you will have a good trademark protection for your brand. Next, most of the startups, I would say, right, they do, of course, many of us like watching my video would be thinking of pitching to investors. What kind of general questions that startups get in an investor pitch? Okay, what's your market strategy? What's your market barrier? What is the risk in the market? Right? How you can ensure that you will be able to capture the market? How unique your solution is, right? So what is the answers to this? Like general answers is unique. You will say that okay, my this machine gives accurate data and number of other things. Market barrier, yes, it's a cost effective thing. We are providing services in no time. Market trend is this particular jurisdiction has this number of patients, right? So we have a good market there. Risk is that maybe big brands can have deep pockets. We don't have deep pockets for marketing, all those things. However, you have to phrase your pitch, your answers, by aligning with intellectual property. Coming to the uniqueness, you say that I have filed a patent application, I have a trademark. That sets apart my brand from others because I have these rights, or I have applied for these rights, right? Coming to the market trend, you can say that by using patent databases, that this number of patent applications has been filed in country A, country B. This is the patent filing trend. This means that most of the companies are going to launch their product in these markets. So this is the market of future. We should also go there. Coming to the market barrier, if you file a patent and if you have a strong drafting done by your attorneys, right, you're sure that your patent cannot be validated very easily. That's a market barrier for others, because you are creating a space of yours in the market by having a strong patent portfolio. Similarly, in terms of trademark, you are coming up with a unique brand. That's your market barrier, that nobody can use my name and sell secondary products or duplicate products in the market, because functionality is saved by patent and the brand is saved by your name. Coming to the profits, of course, with the patent, it's your monopoly. Nobody can use this product. And if the product is good and unique, right, and saving lives, people will take it, readily will take it up, right? So All these questions in a pitch can be answered by referring to intellectual property portfolio of your company. So that's really important here. And coming to the valuation. So like investors ask you that what is the valuation of your company? You say my valuation is X figures. How you come to the valuation? Okay, by seeing the market trend, user, cost. But did you counted the valuation of your intellectual property? Do you know that Procter and Gamble has 50 brands and each brand has a value? Brand value means the trademark value is million and billion dollars. Why? Because it's only the name. Number of companies like we can say that Nike and others big companies, they don't have factories. They do licensing of their trademark and ask manufacturer to use their trademark and get taking their licensing fee from distributors, manufacturers, and franchise owners. So that's the value of a brand, right? Similarly in healthcare, right? You can develop a brand value. That's your valuation. That how many users you are going to capture and how many users are going to buy your brand. That's your valuation. Yes, people will buy out, right? That also comes to the valuation, your assets. Intellectual property is the biggest asset of a company. If you go back to a few years back, Google bought Motorola. But if you buy a Motorola phone today, right, once you switch it on, it says Lenovo in it. Because Google sold out all the physical assets. Google only kept the intellectual property of Motorola and now earning revenues on licensing fee. Qualcomm does so. So every big company, they are just generating innovations and earning from the licensing of the company. So that's a I would say a best part of intellectual property, right? And if you go to the investors, they will be very happy to know more about intellectual property. So for me, that intellectual property for startups gives you a lot of benefits. First, they enhance your valuation. They give you chance to create monopoly in the market. They give you chance to collaborate in foreign markets. If you have a patent in the foreign country, you can easily partner with local people there because you have a patent. You don't have a fear that they can duplicate my product. If they do it, they have to bear the brunt. So that's why it helps you to create partnerships. Plus, it gives you an edge over competition. No matter what startup you are, if you have a good patent portfolio, you can give a good competition to settled brands in the market. So it can give you a lot of benefits. And I would suggest, right, all the startups who are listening, who are being there, right, ensure that you understand the importance of intellectual property in the very beginning of your startup journey. Don't keep your intellectual property discussions to some later time because the more you delay, the more you are inviting the issues. The more you are delaying the success. Because as per a survey, that a startup having patents and trademark have 35 times higher chances than other of success than other startups. So it's really important that every startup should understand the how to enforce intellectual property as well, right? And how to use intellectual property. So it's a business tool, right? And you have to be very innovative in respect of like coming up with a new thing. You have to be very innovative in your strategy. Your business strategy should I will not say 100%, but have a larger portion depending on intellectual property landscape of your competitors of your industries. And don't shy in approaching to any patent owner or patent application applicant, take a license because it's there, right? You can earn from it because if you get into the litigation part of intellectual property, right, you will be losing a lot of money, name, time, and it may put a full stop on your startup journey. So you have to be very careful in understanding the part. And you can easily develop, I would say, not talking much about going to technicalities of patents, right? But yes, you can generate a lot of innovations by using patent landscapes, right? And patent drafting is really important for having a strong patent portfolio. Similarly, in the trademark, choice of your name, choice of your logo is must really important. So I would say this, like to conclude, I would say every startup must give importance to intellectual property at the very beginning. That should be first few steps of your startup journey, and go out, reach out to experts in intellectual property to discuss your matter, because you are doing innovation, but the issue is startups don't realize that is patentable, and they just let it go and say, oh, this not might be patentable subject matter, but that may be. If you go and search about uh, Coke can, right? How Coke got the opening mechanism that we use today for the cans, the hook, that was created or been patented by a lady, right? And been so licensed to Coke. And at some point of time when the patent was live, she was earning around 148,000 British pounds in a day. So you can generate also this kind of money, right? So that's the importance. And what I would suggest that prepare a strategy to develop your patent portfolio. First of all, look for your competition or industries who are innovating. Second, understand what they are doing. Try to develop some solutions. Try to understand your problem, what you are doing, right? And coming to with the solution, what is it, right? And then you can also look for one more thing I want to to touch base here is that not everything should be filed for patent. Because if you file patent, right, your patent application will be published, and whatever your solution is will be in public domain. So the way that I'm saying that you go and see a patent portfolio for your competitor or a company and try to develop some innovation over above, they can do so for your patent applications also. However, you have to understand whether can you enforce this patent or not. For example, if it's a process of a mediate process of a manufacturing assembly line where you cannot enforce patent, you cannot investigate any kind of infringement, then you should not file a patent for this. Example, Coke, right? Coca-Cola doesn't have a patent, doesn't file patent for their formulation. They kept it trade secret because if they would have filed a patent, they would have disclosed the competition. So it's really important. Like you should not blindly file patent. That's why coming to the same point, strategy is the word. If you sit down with your team and few IP experts in your team, prepare a strategy. This should be patentable. Let's file it. Let's keep it trade secret. Let's use this name. This is unique, right? So prepare a strategy, prepare a roadmap of innovations, and then you can go forward. Nowadays, investors are also looking for it, right? So coming to the end, I would always say my all the startups whom I interact, ensure that intellect you get a check whether you get a patentable solution or not. Ensure before launching a brand, your name, your brand name is not interfering in other existing brands. Ensure the codes that you are using is free of any copyright issue. Op- Open source is not open. You should understand and read their terms and conditions. Right? Designs. Understand the law, not in terms of legalities, in terms of business, right? And I'm sure if you spare some time to understand business aspects of intellectual property, right, your startup journey would be very long and fruitful. Right. With this, I conclude my uh, remarks and my suggestions. And any startup have any query on intellectual property or on business strategy or on innovations, right? Feel free to connect to me, Vivek Dahiya, right? You can type on LinkedIn. I am on LinkedIn. You can connect with me, and then we can start talking then. Thank you very much, and best of luck for your IP. Best of luck for your startup journey. Thank you very much.